Dr. Arvin Scott on drums and rhythm and love, because we can feel the love just zooming up from that music this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Scott, for being with us. Retired UGA professor and still doing amazing things with kids and drumming and their futures. For our opening prayer this morning, and by the way, you're not at a drum fest, you're at Unity Athens if you're watching on live stream, and we're so delighted that you're with us. For our opening prayer this morning, our licensed Unity teacher and prayer chaplain trainer and coordinator, Peggy Olson.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we settle into prayer, Dr. Scott, can I tell a story on you?
Oh, yes.
So my husband goes to First Baptist Church and being interfaith. We're an interfaith family. We're an interfaith council. Reverend Bronte's on that. So Reverend Scott, Arvin Scott, yeah, Reverend. He was at First Baptist Church drumming, and they loved him. And they posted pictures on Facebook and their website with him and the children there at First Baptist Church. And my husband Grant said to tell you, you were loved and thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I know you're known all around the communities, all the communities around Athens. So, good morning into Athens,
Good morning.
at home and here. You're so beautiful. We're here today to honor our divine feminine. Whether we're masculine or feminine, the divine feminine resides inside of us. And it's Mother's Day, the nurturing, wonderful part, our love that's in our hearts. So let's go deep and just get inside that light that's at the center of us. Take a breath, a loving breath into your heart. Divine Holy Mother, the All, we now move into a space where we're connected. We're in the substance of love from our heart, the place of the feminine, the nurturing, the caring. We're so grateful this morning for all the past mother influences and all the present mother influences. We're so grateful for Mother Earth. We're so grateful for the blessings that are always ours. In just a moment, we can turn within and realize we can grasp that beautiful love, that beautiful light. We can know that we are never alone, that we're always loved, that we're made of love, that divine feminine love. We give thanks. We're so grateful. Even those who may not have known the type of love we might be talking about, we know it's available to all. We can use our beautiful light and our beautiful energy right now to send out to whomever you please and around the globe the beauty and the love and the peace that comes from knowing this gorgeous, gorgeous love inside of us. We lift up our prayers and we send out our goodness, knowing that the will of God for all is absolute good. We thank you. So be it, and so it is. Amen. Happy Mother's Day.
And happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you for that beautiful prayer, Peggy. So I rearranged the furniture a little bit. Standing in the back, I was like, I didn't really put a good path here. And for our reading of our daily word, Reverend Karen Cosgrove, I forget to give you that. You were ordained some years ago, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think it was 98.
98.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Nurture Day. Sunday, May 8th. I bless all mothers everywhere. The word mother brings to mind love, gentleness, nurturance, and compassion. Even if I did not experience these qualities from the woman who gave me life, I give thanks for them in everyone who has inspired me and touched my life. To my mother and everyone who has blessed me with a mother's care, I send you love. I say a prayer of thanks for your presence in my life, for the sacrifices you made to give me the opportunity to grow and learn. You taught me the power of love and gentleness and the strength found in giving. You taught me above all to be true to myself. You are a leader who has taught me to lead by example. I send you thoughts of infinite love and peace as I join with others in gratitude and joy today. And from Proverbs 31:26, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. You can take it with you if you like. Kindness on her tongue. And now for a Unity Nugget. It's so wonderful to have Reverend Mary here. She's a Unity minister from Flint, Michigan. And we're just blessed. We've had many ministers in attendance over the decades, and it's wonderful to have a retired Unity minister with us.
Where is he about retirement?
Excuse me. We're very active and continuing to spread the word of light and love and joy, Minister Reverend Mary Covington. Thank you.
Thank you. One of my instructors at Unity Village said to us, you know, it's easier to get out of the mafia than it is to retire from ministry. So this is why I always tease her about that. Because even though we are, quote, retired, and we look forward to those pensions and stuff, every time we ask to say, will you say a word, we're glad to do it. And in that spirit of today's Mother's Day, you know, every year was not a Mother's Day celebration. There was a lady down in West Virginia named Anna Jarvis, who around 1906 to 1908 decided to honor her mother, Eunice. And she started a campaign, which became, as we know, successful. And so since then, just about every second Sunday in May turns out to be Mother's Day, officially. But for those of us who have had those kind women in our lives, our mothers, sometimes teachers, Sunday school teachers, or just a neighbor, in my case, a music teacher, hopefully we remember them every day. And we use that example as we go along our paths to spread that love and light as we are moving through the world. Many of those women had no children physically. I remember my first grade teacher, Ms. Ricketier. She had no children. But every child in that classroom was her child. We talk about the old times in the neighborhoods when we were walking home from school and somebody saw us doing something we weren't supposed to do. She was our mother. Johnny, you know you weren't supposed to be doing that. Mary, you know better than that, and I'm going to tell your mother. And if it was serious enough, she'd grab you. And you know what happened. And we didn't consider that abuse in those days, because they did it to show us the right way. So for all of that and that love and light, and for the Anna Jarvises of the world who realize there is a need to recognize goodness and faithfulness and love in the world, we do give thanks today. Happy Mother's Day.
Taking a little drink down. Thank you so much, Mary. And that was on the spot. I just went and whispered in her ear, could you do some unity wisdom after the daily word? And she said, of course. And look at the beautiful wisdom that is so in full in you that it just flows out as one gorgeous stream of words and inspiration. So thank you so much, Reverend Mary. We have some announcements today.
Announcements!
Yay! Oh, wow, what are they going to be? Oh my goodness. First of all, we have a drawing, a Mother's Day drawing. So if you did not get a chance to put your name on a little slip of paper by the little bowl on the table, please do that now. You can get up, it's, you can leave your seat. It's not like first grade might have been. You can leave your seat and go over there and put your name on a slip of paper anytime between now and toward the end of this service. And we have some lovely gifts that you'll be able to choose from. We've decided not to do flowers, just because some people have fragrance issues and some folks don't like flowers, and I couldn't find any flowers. Trader Joe's was totally out of flowers. You were there.
Yesterday.
Yes. I was like, well, they must have taken them all back into the freezer or something. They said, no, we sold every last stem, and there were a lot of bins for all the different flowers. So we have candles and we have chocolate, so I think you'll want to get your name on a slip, and this lovely big vanilla candle goes to Reverend Mary without having to go in the drawing, because she's so very special. And you get a chance to take a whiff of that, because I was like, wow, it's a little vanilla and a little honeycomb and just all good things in there. Yeah, reminded me of baking with my mom. We have t-shirts, a new order of t-shirts came in, and they haven't been quite organized yet, but I want to give a good round of applause to Betty Rice, who has been organizing this t-shirt project, picked it up when it was kind of falling off track and got us going, and we still have some from the last order on the back table, but now we've got a whole new bunch. So please take a look, and if you haven't gotten one yet, I bet your size will be back there. And what else have we got going? There's food in the back room. There's some snacky things and some coffee in the kitchen, so please stay after and chat for a bit and make yourself a little snack. What else is going on? Oh, there's a book study going on. It's on Thursdays with this lovely book by Reverend Raymond Charles Barker. This is a newly revised edition where they did some beautiful work on some of the pronouns, and instead of referring to everything as mankind, it's people, and I really appreciate that, but the text has remained the same. That is on Thursdays from 12:45 until 2:30. So from 12:45 until 1 o'clock, we're just chatting and doing some meditation or prayer, and then the class work actually begins at 1 o'clock. Includes time for a breakout where we can get to know each other better and discuss certain passages of the book. It's okay if you have to miss a class. This is not, every week is not dependent on what came before. Let's put it that way. It's always bright and new. And I'll be reading a little bit of this later in the message. This book literally is a life changer. It's new thought to the core, reminding us how powerful our thinking is and our attention and our intention. And just to know that. We teach it, we know it, we've learned it. Reminders are powerful and reminders are good, and I highly recommend this. And if you can't come to the class, you might want to get it on Amazon anyway and read it at home, and you can follow along, and we're happy to give you a copy of the syllabus, and there's some on the table over in the corner. Also on Tuesdays and Thursday morning, For those of you who get up early or stay up very, very late, Peggy Olson has a Zoom class from 6:30 until 7:30, and they discuss a wide variety of topics. They use some of the Unity booklets, and that's going very well. So glad of you to do that. Yes, Peggy. They're talking about.
Today's the last day. If anybody, anywhere is interested in being a prayer chaplain, they can get in touch with you or me, and I'll get in touch with them. But our final get-together for that is going to be in a couple of weeks.
21st.
So, on the 21st, May the 21st. So if anybody's interested, this is last call.
Okay, and that's a Saturday, is that correct?
It's 2 Saturdays.
2 Saturdays.
It's on the 21st.
Okay, and if you couldn't hear that in the online, Peggy is having a training for prayer chaplains, and that's including all the current prayer chaplains, but anyone that's even interested now in becoming a prayer chaplain. Talk to Peggy about it. It's a wonderful experience. It really supports the church. We have felt that presence of prayer and that upliftment, especially during the last 2 years when, I don't know, there was something going on. And we really appreciate those prayers and the individual prayer calls. I love getting a call from my prayer chaplain. Sometimes I pick up, and sometimes I let it go into voicemail so I can hear it again and again and again. And my voicemail's getting really full because I have a lot of prayers saved on there, but that's okay too. I think that's all the announcements. So please remember all those things or check with us. And if you're online, it's all in our weekly newsletter, and you can let us know if you'd like to receive that if you're not, and just send us an email at unityathens@gmail.com. If you're here in person and you're not getting the newsletter, please speak to me after the end of the service and we'll get your information down. Comes out weekly on usually a Friday or a Saturday. Whew, end of messages. Wow.
Yeah.
We are going to go into meditation and then the message, and then have time for Arvind to do a beautiful solo. This one won't be drum along with Arvind, it'll be listen, and we really appreciate you being here, sir. It's always wonderful to have your presence here. So we're going to turn within, start thinking about our breath. Rearrange your furniture a bit more. If you're at home, you might want to turn out your lights. Find a comfortable place to sit. Lotus into a lotus position, if you like, on the floor. And just think about breathing. The intention of meditation is to step out of the outer and turn within. To remind ourselves of our spiritual essence, our powers, the love that is within us, God, Spirit that dwells in the midst of us, the midst, also the mist of us. As we think about our breathing, we allow that breath to calm us. And we focus on that, letting go of things in the outer that might feel disturbing to us, or that we're worried about, or that we feel we can't fix. And holding a bigger picture of everything working out in divine order. God first, Spirit first, whatever your name is for the divine first. And in meditation, we can put Spirit first in our minds and in our hearts and in our lives. As we breathe, perhaps there's a mantra you like to use, like God is love, or I am whole, or all is well. Simple Om. And we breathe, holding it just as long as we're comfortable, then letting go. From this sacred space, in this divine place, we can send out love to our dear ones, whether they are in the body or have passed on. Can give thanks. We can radiate out well-being, grace. We can send vibrations of loving kindness to our world. Holding the highest and the best for all. And we enter a deeper silence, allowing space for answers, for guidance from the divine. Deep into the quiet. In that silence, in that quiet, we feel the liquidity of God's love. We feel a sense of renewal, regeneration, the lifting up. Giving us the energy and the insight to dwell in the world and yet be not totally of the world. To acknowledge but see beyond. To feel that essence of God's stuff within us that allows us to bless others, that gifts us with understanding, loving kindness, patience, and a deep, true knowing that every step we take, every breath we make, is divinely gifted to us, through us, and from us. Focusing again on the breath, we begin to bring ourselves back to into the moment. Opening our eyes when we're ready, perhaps with a stretch, or namaste, or thank you, God. Or wow, gee, that felt good. Kevin, are you able to bring up that slideshow? We didn't rehearse this part either. We have a slideshow. It's been in the works for, gosh, 10 plus years, and we add to it and edit it some and add some new photos. And I think if we can run that on the screen, Arvin, could you come up just for a few minutes and do some drumming? And we're going to have the people be able to see you, but we can watch the slideshow for a couple turns, and then I'll go into my message. And then we have a solo from Arvin after the message. I might even read some of these, and you can see that from the back. That was a picture of my mom from 1941 on her first camping trip. I think she was pregnant at the time with my oldest brother, but I can't be sure. Kathy Payne and Kenny's mom. We can go through kind of fast, Kevin, if you would. Here we go. That was taken a few years ago, and we're just opening, and Reverend Mary, you're in that picture too, in a beautiful blue dress. Lee Fishburne's mom and dad. David loves this picture of his mom, passed a few years ago. Musician Jennifer Farron, her mom, Karen, that comes here often. Karen's mom. Friend Marietta. Kids are much bigger than that now. Frank and Mary's moms. Maria's mom. Rosemary's mom. Rosie's mom and grandma. Rick Bernard's mom. There's Myrtle, Mother of Unity,
Yeah.
co-founder. There's Peggy. Laura Hyden, Anita, and daughter. Unity greeting. Steve from Florida. Betty. Martha. Mom, Charlotte. Rich. Nanette. Beth Beloit. Cindy Lou Harrington, who passed earlier last year. Okay. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for that special. And if you would like to be in next year's slideshow, just get us a photo now, because we will continue to do that in years ahead. Why do I love this book so much? Because it speaks truth. I had to get a new copy. My other one, the 1957 edition, was literally falling apart. I already mentioned it's highlighted in yellow and orange and underlined and stars in the margins. And I said, well, this one, I won't do all that. I'll just have a nice clean copy. And there's some little green stars already in the margins. And I did it in pencil too, like, well, that's better. And I said, well, I want green. Raymond Charles Barker was ordained Unity, actually by Charles Fillmore, back in 1914, I believe. And he was in some churches. He was also very active in church as a youth. They saw potential, I believe, for ministry in him then. And so he had a lot of guidance and was always active and taught and led some Unity churches. And then he discovered Ernest Holmes and realized he also was very interested in what was called science of mind back then. And Ernest suggested that Raymond start a church in New York City. And oh my goodness, they went from one large building to the next, one large building to the next. Hundreds and hundreds of people came to hear him speak. Why? Because of things like this. You are forever immersed in and part of a creative mind. This mind is thinking new ideas into your consciousness. Accept them by knowing that they come to you in order to operate through you and to bring to pass something greater in your experience than you had previously. Welcome them as you would a dear friend. Oh, you get ideas. Sometimes they seem grand, sometimes they may seem small, sometimes it might be a nudge, like, call that person, or do that thing, or do something a little different with that. Welcome them as if they were a dear friend. Life seeks in every way to inspire your mind. Life wants to inspire your mind. It wants you to have more and more of all good things. It knows no lack, limitation, nor impossibility. God never knows defeat. There is no virtue in pain, poverty, or unhappiness. Unhappiness has never improved a living soul. Think of that.
It's true.
Even if we think we are, I'm just going to be unhappy today. Doesn't help, does it? It cannot increase your area of good. It will only diminish it. It warps, destroys, and contracts. Well, they always kind of get a little powerful with that stuff, too. The infinite can only release its ideas into the consciousness that is at peace with itself and enjoying the experience of living. Being at peace with ourselves and enjoying the experience of living. Wow. My mother was at peace with herself almost all the time, especially with me until I was a teenager. But she had this really peaceful way about her. And I was thinking this morning about ironing, of all things. It's like ironing. Because I have a little flag that we're going to put on the wall, and I was ironing that, and I said, that's right. As soon as I was tall enough to reach the ironing board that came down out of the wall, if any of you ever had one like that, it had like its own little closet, and you opened it, and the ironing board came down out of the wall. And then we had iron plugs, and I don't think we ever had to heat it in fire or anything. We had electricity when I was young. But we had to iron the shirts for the men in our family. Had to iron my dad's white shirts, even though he worked in a factory. He was a supervisor, but he wore a white shirt. And my oldest brother's white shirts. My younger brother was 2 years older than me, so he wasn't wearing white shirts at the time. But it wasn't particularly easy, and we didn't have steam irons back then. And those shirts would come out of the laundry pretty darn wrinkled. So we wetted them. And some people had special sprinklers. I went, Mom, why can't we get one of those special sprinklers, which was basically a large salt shaker with water in it? She said, no, we just do it in the sink. We do it in the sink, and we get that shirt damp, and we roll it into like a kind of a rectangular ball, and then put it aside, and then just at the right time, we would unroll that shirt and iron it. And actually, my father taught me how to do the collars. He said, you do the collars first. So you take that white collar and you do that. And then you do the, I'm trying to think of the word for it, the backing of the shirt, which is, there's a name for it. Anyway, it was a seam there, and you would do that part because that would get wrinkled if you didn't do it first. And you're flipping the sleeves around and you do the cuffs. Now, when I think of that, it's more like, well, why weren't they ironing their own shirts? And of course, nowadays we don't have to iron shirts because things are made to just come out of the dryer, shake it a few times, hang it up, and there's not a darn wrinkle in it. But it was an act of love. And it was an act of patience, and it was a time of sharing with my mother. We didn't complain about it. We didn't say, oh, why don't the guys iron their own shirts? And sometimes they would. But it was a time of doing the things that moved us forward. My dad worked. My mother worked at home. The brothers wanted their shirts ironed. We did it. And I think sometimes that patience came to me through the years in other ways. And I thought, well, I have to do this or that in life. Well, yeah, there's things that I have to do. There's tasks to be done. But that time with my mother, too, in the kitchen, just was a beautiful thing. Now, Mother's Day is not good for everybody. I think we all know that. Social consciousness helps us learn that we can't just go around screaming Happy Mother's Day to everybody, because some people are grieving during Mother's Day. And some people are wishing they could be a mother during Mother's Day, or they've had a child that has transitioned and the pain is awful for them. And some of that doesn't always heal so easily. And some feel they weren't a good mother themselves, and some feel their mothers weren't good mothers. But we look at it, and as Peggy mentioned in her opening prayer also, it's a divinity. We can look at divine mothering in us, and that goes beyond any gender. All of our wonderful new quote-unquote genders also. How can we be more loving? How can we express kindness? How, as Reverend Mary was mentioning, how can we be the mother outside of the family that helps a child? It might be through online donations somewhere, kids that are hurting, kids that need food. It might be just sending light and love to children. I wish I could take in foster kids. Every time I wish that, I go like, I can't do that, you know? Oh, no, you know, having a dog was, you know, busy for me, you know? I couldn't take in foster kids, but I can feel the energy of that. I can feel sending love to people that do that, or to kids that don't have a family. And there's organizations I can support. I think of my dad for like fishing and tools, because he taught me how to fish, even though I don't fish anymore. But that time in the boat with him was wonderful. Rowboats in northern Wisconsin. I refused to touch a worm. It's squirming, Dad, no. He did it for me. And I think of tools for him. So this week, when I was in the office looking through things, I found this hanging that we had when we used to be over in Family Counseling Center. We needed temporary things to put on the walls. And this just kind of popped out of the archives in my office. It's beautiful. And I was like, oh my gosh, sunflowers, which is really, you know, something we're doing a lot of these days as we wish for world peace in Eastern and Western Europe and all around the world. And I said, but I don't want to just tack it on the wall or tape it up. I need to do something. So I was thinking, okay, what tools do I have? And Mother and Dad both kind of popped into my head. Because I thought, well, Dad would have taken this down into his workshop, and he would have measured out some kind of strong metal and taken his special clippers and cut that metal so it would go through, because there's a hole on top where you can put something through it. And he would have just made this perfect. And then maybe he would have used wood, but if he used wood, he was such a designer that he would have cut designs into the wood. And then he would have made holes at the end of the wood where you could put something through to hang it. And that hanging cord would have been invisible to the eye while it's on the wall. And I went, whew. And then he would have gotten out his special sander for any part of the wood or metal that he cut and made it smooth and easy and wonderful. And I went, oh. Okay, I can't do all that, and I have no workshop, and my tools are in 3 different drawers and in the garage, and probably under the bed. So what would Mother do? Well, first of all, she would iron it, so I ironed it. Then I went to the store and thought, oh, look in crafty fabric area, and there was this rod. You can see this, except it was longer. So right there in the crafty department of Walmart, I was going like, how am I going to cut this? Because all my saws are really big and they're for tree branches and they're not for little rods. So I took it home and I thought, what would Mom do? And I got out a big butcher knife. And a picture of it somewhere, we'll show you that next week. A big butcher knife and a cutting board. Okay, is that mom stuff or what? Is that divine feminine and it's not just female? Okay. Because lots of other genders love doing kitchen-y stuff too. But I put it on the cutting board and I got this little knife and I started cutting and it didn't go very far. Right? I needed a bigger tool, just like in life. When something isn't working, we reach for something bigger. When our little tools aren't working, we call on divine guidance. And divine guidance said, go look in that drawer with the knives that you don't use anymore, because they're probably sharper than the ones you do. And I went, oh, my dad would have had a sharpening tool in the basement, some kind of grinding wheel or something. So I got out this big butcher knife and I put it on that cutting board. And I cut off just the right amount, so this would go through the flag. And I found some ribbon, because my mother liked ribbon. And I knew I could put this at both ends when it's finished, and just hang it on the wall like that. And it wouldn't be invisible like my dad would have done it. But oh, I learned from my mother. But the ends were kind of rough. And I thought, I have sandpaper somewhere. I had sandpaper here somewhere because we did a lot of work when we moved into this building, but I didn't know where the sandpaper was, so I scrambled through a couple more drawers. My father, in his basement, had a rack with bottles with screw tops, and the screw top would be nailed up into the rack so that each bottle, which held a different size of screw or nail or thingamajiggy, could be screwed into that in perfect order. My mother had a junk drawer in the kitchen. So I kept looking and couldn't find any sandpaper. Divine Feminine emery board. Yes.
Love it.
Got the emery board out. Smooth, you can feel this, just smooth as a newborn. And that will all come together as one. Divine ideas are always flowing through us. Wisdom, not just on this day, but on every day, is with us. You are free to take what you want from life and give what you will to life, says Raymond Charles Parker. You are spiritually free, though for the moment you may be materially in bondage. Unity author Emily Cady talks about bondage or freedom, that we actually put ourselves in those situations. Lack of income may, for the moment, prevent you from doing what you want. Poor health, a sense of duty to family, or any obligation to business is a passing experience to those who let in the ideas of God. You are free to think anything you want to think. The power of our thought is incredible. So I hope you remember that as you go through this day and as you go through the weeks ahead. Allow your thoughts. Be aware of nudges. We talk about that all the time. Divine nudges. Wake up to them. Be with them. Know them. Accept them. Ask for them. They're there, waiting for you, just as you continue to live your life in the divine presence. Namaste, and so it is. We're going to have our wonderful, newly ordained Reverend Dr. Arlen Scott. Now, we're not officially ordaining him. It came up earlier. We're just laughing. We were just laughing about that. So he's going to up on stage, and we've got about 10 minutes for you, Dr. Scott. We will be passing our baskets during the playing of his music, so if you would like to make a donation, we can always use your donations. It's been some interesting 2 years, and we appreciate your financial support at this time and into the future. And we'll just gently pass baskets around when we get a chance. And please, we'll do the drawing, so you still have time to go put your name in that little bowl over there, okay? Okay. Watch your foot, you don't trip. There you go.
This performance is titled Rhythm Journeys for Wellness and Joy. And it will consist of 2 separate movements.
Let's wait a few. Baby. Baby. you are back, and please come back again. We'll talk. Get some other dates.
It will always be a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you and your wonderful music here.
Thank you.
If you didn't get a chance to donate, we have other baskets around, and for those that are watching online, we have a website, unityathens.com. Go to our donate page, and there's different options. We also have a card reader here if you would like to use that. We'll be happy to bring that up. So I should be looking at the names. We need someone to help me draw. Mary, you're laughing, so you can come up and help me draw names. And if you draw your own, it's fine, okay? When your name is called, you can come up and get either a Trader Joe's chocolate bar, which are really, really good and very low sugar and a wonderful treat for yourself, or one of the other candles.
Right, so we have Michelle.
Michelle Brown, yay! Who's next?
Karen.
Karen.
Oh,
That's two. Okay, and 5 more.
wow.
I know.
So I got every name in here. Casey.
Casey! Yay,
Casey, all right.
Casey! Oops.
Bronte. Betty.
Betty.
Mary.
Yay! You can pick yours now so you're not like the last one. I'll pull some. Who's next? Should we have a drum roll? Martha Good!
Oh,
We will have this. There's 2 left, right? No, 1 left. Okay. Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Yay, Kirsten. A former board member, Kirsten Howes. Okay, I think that's all. You get the one, they put it like in a paint can. I thought that was so cute.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Mary. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you. So we close with prayer, and thank you for staying a little later because we used to go hour, 15 minutes, and it's wonderful to have music. On this day, just walk in peace and loving kindness and allow that energy of love that's represented by God in the midst of each and every one of you and all of us to make a difference. We touch lives all the time without even knowing it through so many ways, and now with everything, social media, there's just so many ways you can make someone feel better today. You can touch a life. You can give a kind word. You can acknowledge that Christ or God presence within them. Yeah, you might not want to go up to the stranger in the grocery store and say, I see God in you and it's all good. Although it might change their life. Who knows? So it could scare them. It could scare little children probably too. I don't know how motherly that is. I see God in you. A child might just say, I know. So we're going to have a closing prayer, and then we'll do yes, thank you, Kevin, the prayer of protection. Kevin is so wonderful. He's just always paying attention and is so in tune to what I'm doing or not doing or forgetting or whatever. So it's also up here. You know, actually so many people add to the end of this, and all is well, but the original writing of it by James Dillett Freeman did not have all is well. Just wherever we are, God is, knowing all is well. But let's sing that together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. Give yourself a hug. Enfolds us. Feel it. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And And so it is. Thank you for joining us online. Let us know that you're online by putting up a heart or a message. Otherwise, we don't know. So let us know. We love seeing your lovely faces or your hearts or your messages. And we'll see you during the week and next Sunday. And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Let's give everyone a round of applause and give a round of applause. Dr. Arvin Scott. Talk to him about private drumming lessons if you're interested. And a new thing he's doing at his home, right?
Yes, it's a drumming workshop for adults this time.
Drumming workshop for adults.
Yes, so be happy to give you information about that.
Happy to give you information about that. To repeat everything because it goes in there. But yes,
And
talk to
thank you
him.
so much for your hospitality. Unity Athens. I'm on my way home to Flint.
Oh my goodness, this is Mary's last Sunday with us for now. She's going back up where the snow is melted.
Finally.
It did melt. Flint, Michigan's a beautiful place, and it's even more beautiful when you're there. So thank you, Reverend Mary. Let's give her a round of applause. There's food in the back room, some snacks and some coffees in the kitchen. Please grab a snack. Love to your families. Thank you for all that are here today with other things going on and to do also.
Set my joy over the mountains. I set my joy.
And Kevin is ending the live stream now. Thank you everyone for watching online.
I set my joy into